Good afternoon. I'm hoping to be a little provocative today. So health economic value as a service. What's the alternative? The alternative is the dominant model in the healthcare marketplace today, which is operating through the rearview mirror. It's batch aggregation of data after services are rendered, a bunch of analytics are run, insights are generated, the insights are reported to the care system, and then the care system ingests those insights and hopes to do better next time. And so the whole market, as it moves towards and is now very deeply immersed in the value-based care initiative and transformation, moving from fee-for-service to value, we still predominantly operate through the rearview mirror as we engage in these value-based agreements, which we carefully architect, put in the filing cabinet, and wait for that next aggregated data report to tell us how we scored and performed in that agreement. The good news is, this is the age of interoperability. The marketplace is interoperable. It's just not interoperating or interoperational to any great degree yet, but that's changing fairly quickly. So I've been passionate about, some would say obsessed with, how to apply real-time computing to the problems of healthcare. And early in the 90s, I got a gift. I was in the right place, right time, when pharmacy was introducing, through NCPDP, the National Council for Prescription Drug Programs, a real-time adjudication standard for interoperating between all kinds of medical record and healthcare and claim systems and your local pharmacy. Imagine today going to the pharmacy, getting a prescription, coming home, and then 3 months later getting a report in the mail that says, oops, you're allergic to that drug, or that drug is contraindicated for some other disease condition that you have. We cured that back in the early 90s, and real-time drug utilization view, drug interaction checking, drug allergy checking, and pricing took place at the point of sale, just like a credit card transaction. And so we brought RxClaim to market, which today still processes over half the 4 billion pharmacy claims in the market in real time. As we are now in the age of value-based care, the problem that KlearTrust is focused on solving is how to take a complex, high-cost specialty pharmaceutical, the new emerging gene and cell therapies and other high-cost therapeutics, multi-million-dollar therapies, and demonstrate, and more importantly, optimize their value in the marketplace as those therapies are being rendered. And so health economic value as a service in that frame is to provide continuous insight, continuous situational awareness, continuous information and decision support, so that everyone in the value chain that's delivering the therapy to a patient is always aware when some behavior, some practice, some process is inconsistent with the best practice that that pharmaceutical company is going to guarantee and warranty for the outcome of that therapeutic. In order to do that, in any value-based care environment, you have to have continuous active intelligence. Again, it's not a matter of what great insights from mashing the data for 10 million patients through claims data to gain the insights that we need, but rather to apply those insights that we gained in real time at the point of care, at the point of dispensing, at the point of drug administration, at the point of patient consumption, to make sure that we're continuously measuring and monitoring performance And when that performance or the behavior that led to that performance is inconsistent with the best practice, that we're guaranteeing that we can support and continuously, hopefully, create a continuous improvement environment for that therapy delivery. So specialty drugs are the perfect environment for this real-time, continuous active intelligence solution. Over 53% of the total US drug spend today is in specialty, and that's growing. Over 80 of the 85 drugs in the FDA pipeline for approval in 2023 are specialty drugs. The industry's kind of at odds over these high-cost, multi-million-dollar new therapies that are now rapidly coming to market. The drug companies, of course, want market share, they want utilization, and they want to preserve their margins, especially for these rare disease orphan products that treat very small populations from which they need to recoup their therapy development costs. The payers, of course, are reticent increasingly to pay for these multi-million-dollar therapies, particularly when they don't work for everyone. And they don't. These therapies aren't perfect. They don't work for every individual. And patients increasingly are abandoning these therapies because they can't afford them. And insurance companies and PBMs keep coming up with ingenious ways to shift the cost burden and deal with these high-cost new therapeutics that, at the end of the day, increasingly cost the patient more and more out of pocket to the point that they abandon therapy. So value-based contracts as a whole, and certainly pharmaceutical value-based contracts, or warranties as we're now calling them, are typically adjudicated through the rearview mirror. It's a data aggregation and analytics, batch analytics solution. These agreements, because of that environment, they tend to lack complexity. Everyone's afraid of the clinical data, which is the most important data in order to adjudicate value in any value-based care equation. And so these contracts tend to be dumbed down to some low common data denominator to make it easy for the industry and for providers and payers to administratively execute on these agreements. And as a result, there's a lack of timely performance insights. Again, the rearview mirror syndrome. So at KlearTrust, the goal is to follow the patient journey in real time, continuously ingest data, and continuously update a central master patient record, and continuously submit that record for scrutiny to a rules engine that represents all the clinical, financial, and process measures that are required for an optimal outcome on that therapy for that patient. And if the system detects that something suboptimal is happening in that delivery of that therapy, we can communicate with that endpoint and give them the situational awareness they need, if they so choose to take advantage of it, to correct course and optimize that outcome. We do all this in real time with real-world data, using the historical data where appropriate, and combining it with the signals that we're getting in real time to affect true change in real time. And then we wrap this whole solution in a risk management envelope, including insurance, so that the drug company that's going at risk now for this multi-million-dollar therapy has the insurance behind them in the event of catastrophic risk. So the measures, again, are many. It's not just about measuring outcomes. It's about measuring the processes that are or are not taking place that led to that outcome. Is the right diagnostic being ordered? Did that diagnostic come back with the right results? Is the patient consuming the product or following the directions? Are they adherent? There's balance measures. So are we requiring something in the protocol, in the pathway for the delivery of that therapy that could potentially cause some unintended consequence, either financial or clinical? And what are the measures we can use to measure those potential balance issues? In order to deliver on this promise of real-time health economic value as a service, we have to interoperate. The market is interoperable, excuse me. The standards are in place. The standards have been adopted. Yes, every endpoint is at various stages in their journey towards interoperating, but the framework is there, the foundation is there. And so KlearTrust interoperates with every endpoint that touches that patient journey that has data that's relevant to that particular warranty or contract. While the interoperable framework is there, clinical data is still fairly messy, fairly complex, and there are some great tools in the market today, in batch again, to ingest clinical data and semantically normalize it, make it computable, run it through the OCR, the NLP engines, take the unstructured content, find the insights, find the signals, find the codes and the measures that we're looking for. But doing that in real-time transactionally is the challenge, and it's the challenge that we've met in this real-time health economic value as a service platform. To adjudicate in real time, we need to be able to inspect and ingest clinical data in all its messy forms, and in real time be able to shape that data so that it's computable by the contract rules engine. So we're truly interoperating. We're making that complex data computable in real time. And then we apply this blueprint or framework to the design of a pharmaceutical warranty in all its various components and details, and take that design and deploy it as a set of rules, algorithms, and measures that represent that complex design. Everything from starting with the clinical guarantee, which can take many different shapes and forms depending on the drug, its therapy, and its disease. Then bring in all the various payment and financial alternative models that may be applicable. And then finally, what does the delivery system, what does the network, what do the providers or the payers or a combination thereof need to do potentially differently in order for that manufacturer to go at risk for the cost of that therapy? And it's potentially not just the cost of the therapy, but the cost of the outcome. So we're working on one contract right now where if the patient fails on therapy, yes, the drug company will reimburse or refund the cost of the drug therapy, but will also go at risk if the patient ends up in the emergency room as a result of that therapeutic failure. The US healthcare system's complex. Every use case is different. The requirements of each warranty are different. And there are thousands of point solutions deployed in the US healthcare system in which payers and providers had made huge investments and commitments and woven them into their infrastructure. Everything from care case management applications to digital health solutions to patient adherence solutions, EMRs. There's just thousands of point solutions which aren't going to be abandoned. And so we have to be able to interoperate, embrace, and orchestrate on a case-by-case basis those solutions. And so part of interoperating is having a very strong, robust orchestration framework, which is scalable and can address all that complexity. So for 40 years, my team and I, we've been building adjudication platforms, mostly claims adjudication. And now we're applying that same concept to healthcare product and service value-based contract adjudication. That requires a lot of functionality from contract lifecycle management in a digital, scalable way. How do you contract? How does a drug company contract with 600 payers who represent 60,000 providers who represent 6 million patients on a real-time basis? And those patients might have to consent to access to their data in a real-time mode to participate in a warranty that's going to guarantee that therapeutic for them. And so we digitally manage all of that. So we start with the drug company, we deploy a registry that acts as a sandbox that enables potential stakeholders who want to participate to do some modeling of their own within the registry. We then contract all the parties, onboard the network, begin to receive data on patients who are under surveillance because they have a diagnosis that's applicable to the warranty, and then begin and complete the follow of that patient and the tracking of that patient through their journey. We take the drug company and their customer, the payer, the provider, through the entire onboarding and design process so that we have consensus on what that design needs to be and how it should be deployed. So I'm going over, I'm going to cut it short, but again, at the end of the day, it's about not having a retrospective report 90 days after care is rendered to determine whether value has actually been delivered under a value-based agreement, in this case, a drug warranty, but rather providing a real-time dashboard that gives every stakeholder the opportunity to optimize their performance and, most importantly, the patient's performance under those agreements.